There is a $350 million project going up on the Mississippi Riverfront in North Minneapolis right now. And if you own a home in this city or you're thinking about buying one, it's going to hit your wallet more than almost any project happening in Minneapolis in this decade. Some of it is already built and already lifting values around it, and some of it is nothing but a rendering that may never get funded. And the gap between those two is exactly where people are about to overpay by tens of thousands of dollars. So let's separate what's real from what's promised and what all of this does to your home value. Start with what's actually there right now, because this is the stuff already moving the market. 48 acres of former industrial riverfront that was fenced off from the public for generations is finally opening up. And one detail matters more than it sounds. The city of Minneapolis owns all of it. The city isn't selling the land, it's leasing it. That matters to you because city ownership means this doesn't get abandoned halfway through the way a private deal can when the market turns. There's public commitment behind it, and that stability is what protects the value of everything around it. The 20-acre riverfront park is open. Right now, you can walk it this weekend. A trail runs through the site, and the shoreline has been fully restored, regraded, and replanted with native trees and grasses where there used to be an eroding, junk-choked riverbank. This is the single most important amenity in the whole project for your home value. Parks and riverfront access are the most reliable value drivers in all of real estate research. Studies of comparable riverfront investments find homes within a few blocks seeing increases of 15 to 20% or more. And there's proof right here in Minneapolis. Before this park even opened, a 2019 analysis of citywide property values found the highest percentage increases in the entire city were happening right next to this site. Some single-family homes rose 20% or more in a single year. That's not a prediction. That already has happened just on the expectation of this park. The Amphitheater is under construction and opens in the summer of 2027. 8,000 seats, outdoor downtown skyline behind the stage, run by First Avenue and the Minnesota Orchestra, two of the most recognizable names in Minnesota music on the North Minneapolis riverfront, hosting about 50 ticketed events a year from May through October. A venue like that pulls a whole commercial ecosystem with it. Restaurants, bars, coffee shops, and retail cluster around a place that draws crowds 50 nights a year, and that new activity lifts the desirability of the entire surrounding neighborhoods. The trade-off is noise, traffic, and crowds on event nights, and that's where distance and sightline decide everything. A block away, that's a real consideration you have to weigh. Half a mile or a mile away, it's an amenity, not a nuisance. Same venue, completely different impact on how your home is going to be valued and exactly where you sit. There's also the infrastructure most people never think about. $10.7 million is going into a district stormwater system that treats runoff from 75 acres of North Minneapolis before it hits the river. That's the unglamorous stuff, but it's exactly what turns a former industrial site into land people actually want to live near. Real quick, since I'm about to get into all of this and how this affects your value, my name is Arne Johansson. I'm a real estate broker here in Minneapolis, and I'm close to 400 transactions. I've built, remodeled, and I live in Minneapolis myself. So I own properties here. So when I talk about property taxes, it's not theory to me. I'm getting affected by it myself. So if you ever want me to look into your specific address, the link to grab is in the description, or you can set up a free 20-minute call with me. Either way, no pressure or obligation. Now here's what's still just being planned and why that difference matters to your wallet, because this is where buyers get burned. The plan calls for 520 units of housing. More than 70% of it will be affordable, but the funding has been rejected. 3 separate applications to the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency have all been denied. The housing is delayed indefinitely, and the developers have openly said that they may have to shrink the number of units or cut how affordable they are. There's also a planned health and wellness hub anchored by inner city tennis and a manufacturing space with the goal of 300 living wage jobs. That's the vision. It is not funded and it is not under construction. Here's the rule, and it's the most important thing in this whole breakdown. The market only pays for what's real. The park is open, so it's already priced that into the homes around it. The housing and the jobs are not built, so that's not there yet. If you're buying near this site, do not pay a premium today for 520 units and 300 jobs that have been rejected for funding 3 times. Pay for what exists. Price in what's actually under construction and treat everything else as upside you're not paying for yet. That housing is also the biggest swing variable for the whole neighborhood, and here's why. If you already own a home near this riverfront, you are very likely sitting on more equity than you realize. A lot of owners up here haven't had a real valuation done since before the park opened, and values right next to this site have been climbing faster than anywhere else in the city. That's real equity. You can borrow against it or you can sell into it, but you can't use it if you don't know it's there. So get an actual valuation. Not a zestimate, a real one. Now the flip side, and I won't sugarcoat it. When your value goes up, the county assessment follows and your property taxes rise with it. If you live in the home, that's usually a trade worth making a bigger tax bill against a much bigger asset. If you're a small landlord with a duplex or a triplex, and I own a duplex myself, so I'm right there with you, you get squeezed from both sides. Your asset appreciates, which is great, but the tax bill climbs whether or not your rent does. Run those numbers now, not 18 months from now when the new assessment lands in your mailbox. If you're thinking about buying here, distance and sightline to that amphitheater matter enormously. So weigh that on any home near the site. Price what's built, not what's promised. And here's the opportunity. The North Loop just south of there is one of the fastest appreciating neighborhoods in the entire Twin Cities. The open question is whether Upper Harbor becomes an extension of that market moving north. If it does, buying near this riverfront now, before the amphitheater opens and before the full build out, could look very smart in 10 years. That's the bull case, and it's a real one. Just don't buy on hype and don't chase a discount that isn't warranted either. Over the next decade, 3 things drive your value here. First, the amenity effect, and it's already locked in. The park is open and the amphitheater opens in 2027. That's a decade-long tailwind that doesn't depend on anything else getting funded. Second, the North Loop spillover. If this becomes an extension of the market, the appreciation could be significant. And third, the one that nobody talks about, whether that's affordable housing, actually gets built. Deed-restricted affordable housing acts as a stabilizer. It keeps a neighborhood mixed and keeps demand broad and steady. Without it, it gets faster appreciation, but a less stable neighborhood and more turnover and more pressure on the people already there. Faster isn't automatically better if you want to plan to still be here in 10 years. My honest call, the park and the venue are locked in. The appreciation trend is already in the data, and the direction over 10 years is up. What's uncertain is the speed and what kind of neighborhood grows up around you. A few things people get wrong. First, they think this is a done deal and the whole vision is happening. It's not. The park is done, the amphitheater is under construction, and the housing has been rejected for funding 3 times. Second, people assume a big concert venue nearby wrecks your value. The broader neighborhood almost always trends up when an entertainment anchor arrives. It's only the immediate neighbors within a block or two who weigh the noise and the traffic. And third, people think values only go up, so everybody wins. If you own, you gain equity. If you rent, you face rent pressure as taxes rise. Same project, opposite outcomes. Right now, today, Upper Harbor has already delivered and restored the Riverfront, a 20-acre park that's open, and an 8,000-seat venue coming in 2027 from First Avenue and the Minnesota Orchestra. That's real, and it's already lifting values around it. What's still just a promise is the housing and the jobs, and until that housing is funded, the full picture stays uncertain, especially for those who get to stay and share in the upside. If you own nearby, the appreciation is already happening. The real question is what kind of neighborhood it turns into around you. If you want to know what this means for your specific address, whether you're sitting on equity you don't know about, whether you should sell into this, or whether you're buying at the right moment, book a free 20-minute call in the description. I'll give you your numbers and give you a straight answer. And if the answer is do nothing, I'll tell you to do that. I break down the Twin Cities market and the big projects moving in every month, and it's all in my Twin Cities Market Updates playlist. I'll link it right here, and subscribe if you want honest, no hype breakdowns of what's actually happening, the property in Minneapolis and the metro. I'll put out new guides every week. I'm Arne Johansson, and I'll see you in the next video.